Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's check out Picross S2 on Nintendo Switch. As you might remember from the first game, our heroic Picross were almost defeated at the hands of... no, I'm just kidding. There's no story. Exciting on the options. Welcome to the world of Picross. First, we'll explain basic Picross rules and approaches in a tutorial. Do you want to view the tutorial? No, sure. Let's do it. I love tutorials. Let's look at some Picross basics. We'll be using this puzzle as an example. In Picross, you must use the hints displayed at the top and left side of the puzzle to fill the squares. These hints show the number of connected squares for that row or column. So the 2 squares here are connected to the 4 squares in this row. There are multiple numbers like 3, 1. When there are multiple numbers like 3, 1, there will always be a gap between the squares represented by each number. To reveal the hidden picture, use the hints to fill in the correct squares. Once all correct squares are filled in, the puzzle is solved and the hidden picture will appear. Let's start here. As this is a 5x5 puzzle, this hint means the whole column should be filled in. Have a go. Good. Well done. Next, look at this row. This through 1 line has 3 connected squares and 1 isolated square. There's at least 1 empty square between them. Try filling in the line. That's correct. We don't need to fill in this leftover square. Always put an X on squares that you're certain about not filling in. Good. Next, let's take a look at this row. Since there's already a square filled in, there are only 2 ways this line can be finished. We don't know which way is correct, but we know the corner squares are empty, so let's place X's on the corner squares. Good. Well done. Since we know the X goes here, you can find the correct squares for this column. Fill it in. Correct. Oh, I thought they wanted me to put an X. They wanted me to drop an X and not a square. Oh, yeah, whatever. All the squares for this column are filled in. We're going to put X's on the empty squares. Well done. Next, let's look at this column. There's 1 open square at the top, but our hint number is 2, so we know it won't fit in there. As always, put an X on the square you don't need to be filled in. That's it. So the correct squares for the hint 2 are hidden in the bottom 3 squares. Since the hint is for 2 squares, there are only 2 ways to fill these squares. Do you see it? The middle square is used for both, so let's fill it in. Well done. This trick will come in handy on many puzzles. Have a look at these examples. If you think about it carefully, it is always possible to find the correct pattern. Try out all the patterns to find the correct squares, even on lines with lots of numbers. Now, back to the puzzle. All the squares in these lines have been found. Put an X in the leftover squares. Just like that. You're almost there. You're almost there now. Go ahead and complete the puzzle. Blue bird. It's like a blurry blue bird. Kind of fools with my eyes a little bit, see it that big. That's all for our explanation of Picross basic rules and techniques. You can view the content here at any time from the tutorial screen. Have fun playing Picross! Use hint roulette? I don't even know what that is, but sure. Oh, does it fill it in for you? Okay, I was like, what? Automatic correction of errors activated. You can toggle this assist function from the settings option menu. You can also turn it off for now. Turn autocorrect off. Yeah, just for now. Alien. I was gonna guess that elephant. Okay, so clearly I'm not good at Picross. Nah, we won't just do it like this time. So only one in this whole thing. There's one, and then two. This one has 2 and 2. This one has 1 and 1, but there's a couple possibilities. There's actually quite a few possibilities. So there's 3. So, I mean, could be either this. Which would give me 1, 1 here. There's 1 here. This needs 3. It could be here. Could be here. No guarantee on that one either. Man, these are not good hints. There's only 1 filled in for this entire thing. Alright. that. Man, that one was actually pretty hard. Alright, Mega Picross. Mega Picross mode is harder than normal Picross. If you're playing for the first time, we recommend playing Mega Picross after getting used to normal Picross puzzles first. Welcome to Mega Picross. First, we'll explain Mega Picross as well as some useful techniques in a tutorial. You want to view the tutorial? Yeah, of course. Welcome to the Mega Picross tutorial. Let's go over the basics of Mega Picross. We'll be using this puzzle as an example. Mega Picross has a new type of line called a mega line. Mega lines are marked with at least one mega number and have different rules from other lines. Mega numbers indicate the shape of the connected squares that extends into both lines. Like here. And here. Mega numbers have the following rules. They always cover two lines. The squares indicated by a mega number cannot be on only one line. The square indicated by each mega number are always connected. Mega numbers are not linked to normal hints. Squares indicated by the mega numbers cannot touch squares indicated by normal hint numbers on the same mega line. That's about it for our explanation of mega numbers. Now let's talk about normal hit numbers in mega lines. Normal size hit numbers that appear on mega lines are just for the lines they appear on. Like here. And here. Normal hints on mega lines follow the normal rules except for the following. They can't touch any squares from other side of a mega line. This can be confusing, so be careful. Can't touch normal hints from the same mega line either, which means once you fill in a square from a normal hint on a mega line, the adjacent square on the other half of the mega line is always an X. Apart from that, normal hint patterns are not related to the normal hints on the adjacent lines. This is very important. Try to remember this example. And that's it. Let's try solving this puzzle together. Start on lines with blue hints that are not mega lines. Apply the same methods for normal Picross puzzles. Let's fill the puzzle in automatically until we come to a mega line. Horizontal lines. Vertical lines. Then horizontal lines again. Lines with blue hints too. Now the only blue hints are on mega lines. If you solve the normal hints first like this, mega lines are a little easier. Now let's move on to mega lines. We'll use this line as an example. These two squares are already filled in and they go across lines. So they must belong to mega number 5. And this square will definitely be part of the 5 since there aren't any hints to the right of the 5. All 3 squares are part of the 5 hints, so they have to be linked. Which means these squares need to be filled in. Go ahead and fill them in. Good. Nice job. Let's look at this mega line a little bit more. Since we found all the squares from the 5 hint, none of the adjacent squares can be used. In mega lines, normal hints cannot touch these squares. None of these squares can be used. Put an X on them. Good. Well done. Look, normal hints just turned blue. Let's quickly fill those in now. Vertically. Then horizontally. There we go. Next, let's look at this mega line. Nice, all the squares for this 5 hint have already been found. That means we can mark the square with an X. Go ahead and add an X. Good. More normal lines just turned blue. Hang on while we finish them. Now this mega line. Look at this 2 hint. You can solve normal hints in mega lines using the tips and patterns from normal Picross. Possible patterns from the left and from the right. There is a correct square used in both patterns. Here it is. Fill it in. You're doing well. Remember the rules for normal hints in mega lines? They can't touch other hints in the same mega line. Once you finish the normal hint on a mega line, always mark adjacent squares from the same mega line with an X. That means you can go ahead and put an X here. Good. Well done. Next, let's look at this mega line. These 2 squares are part of the 4 hint. Think about where the rest of the squares for this hint are. Since it's already extended over both lines, let's look where the other 2 squares could go. This way and this way are the 2 potential patterns. Notice there is 1 square used in both patterns. This is the one. Fill it in. Great. All the squares in this row have been found. Now we can mark the others with X. We'll do that automatically. Now we can solve mega number 4. Fill in the final square for the 4 hint, then add X to any adjacent squares. Well done. Now, let's have a look at this 9. Since we've already finished the 4 hint, the only correct squares left are the ones that belong to 9. There are only 2 ways that we can link all 9 squares. This way and this way. The squares used in both patterns is right here. Also, if we look carefully, we can see a square that's not used in either pattern. Right here, fill in the correct square and add an X to the incorrect square. You got it. You only have 1 square. You only have a few squares left now. Go ahead and complete the puzzle. Mushroom. Well done, you're on your way to becoming a Mega Picross master. Remember to start from normal blue hints before tackling the harder mega lines. Before you go, here's one last important tip. If there are normal hints at the end of a mega line, and no normal hints on the other side of the mega line, some squares on the end of the line with no normal hints will definitely be an X. That's all for our explanation of Mega Picross. You can review the content here at any time from the tutorial screen. Have fun playing Mega Picross. Have fun having an aneurysm. Hold on a second. Okay, Clip Picross. Welcome to Clip Picross. Here we'll explain Clip Picross, game basics, and mechanics. In Clip Picross, you'll solve multiple Picross puzzles to complete a large picture. Usually solving one Picross puzzle reveals one picture, but in Clip Picross, one picture is split into multiple sections. These are known as piece puzzles. There are 5 Clip Picross puzzles in total. Not all of them can be played right from the start. The first 2 of the 5 puzzles are locked, and all puzzle pieces are locked. You'll slowly unlock Clip Picross piece puzzles by playing through Picross Mode. You have to solve every Picross, or attempt to solve every puzzle in Picross Mode to collect all piece puzzles. This is where you select Clip Picross puzzles, select a Clip Picross puzzle, and press the confirm button to move its piece puzzles to the selection screen. This is where you select piece puzzles. Select a puzzle from the panel on the right. You can only play unlocked puzzles. Keep playing the normal Picross mode to unlock all the pieces and clear the Clip Picross puzzles. That's all for the basics of Clip Picross. Have fun playing Clip Picross. You can review the content here at any time on the tutorial screen. Oh, interesting. So you get all the pieces here, I'm assuming, and then you combine them together here. Of course, everything's locked. Use the hint room. Yeah, why not? So it's either 1, 1. I guess it kind of has to be that, doesn't it? This is 1, 2. So it's either that won't work with it. Green pepper. Looks like a creepy face to me. Before tackling larger puzzles, we recommend viewing the following tutorial for some techniques on how to clear difficult puzzles. You want to view the tutorial? Help me out, I'm a moron. I really mean that, though. Let's look at some convenient features and some tips on how to solve larger puzzles. First, look at the color of the hint numbers. Blue numbers mean there are squares that can be filled in or marked with an X. Meanwhile, black numbers are lines that won't give you any useful hints right now. It's easier to start with blue numbers that are larger than half of the total number of squares in a line. Like here or here. This 10 means that all 10 squares need to be filled in. Let's do that now. Good. That's it. Finding correct squares along the edge of the puzzle has a major advantage. Look here. The bottom square is filled in, and the bottom hint is 1. So this square can be filled in, marked with an X. Good. Great. For the same reasons, add an X to these squares too. Good job. Next, let's look at this column. Having this square filled in makes it easier to find the rest of the 6 connected squares. Fill in the correct squares and add X's to the rest. Well done. The same goes for this line. Fill in the 4 connected squares and mark the rest with an X. That's it. Fill in the squares at the edge of the puzzle, making it easier to fill in other parts. Always keep an eye on the edges. Next, we'll give you useful tips for finding squares and lines with blue hint numbers. Line the squares up in the tightest pattern you can find from both edges of the puzzle. If any squares from the same hint number overlap, then those squares can be filled in. Let's try it together. Next, we'll use this line as an example. First, count out the pattern from the top edge using as few squares as possible. With the hint 3, 2, 1, it would look something like this. Next, count out the pattern from the bottom edge using as few squares as possible. If you start the pattern from the bottom, it should look like this. Both patterns have a square from the same hint number. right here. However, beware of this square. This square comes from a different hit number, so it doesn't qualify. There's a chance it shouldn't be filled in. This is a difficult point, so take your time. Let's look at it again. If a square from the same hint number is used when counting from both edges, that square is definitely correct, so fill it in. You got it! Notice the hint numbers turned black? This means that nothing more can be done on this line for now. This trick is very handy, so try using it one more time. Let's look at this row. First, count out the pattern as tightly as possible from the left. Next, count out the pattern as tightly as possible from the right. Let's find any squares from the same hint number that overlap. Here they are. Fill them in. That's it. Many squares can be filled in like this. Let's do it again. Count out the pattern as tightly as possible from the left. Count out the pattern as tightly as possible from the right. Find any squares from the same hint number that overlap. Fill it in. You got it. Look at the number here. It still hasn't turned black. This means there are either still squares to fill in or squares to mark with an X. Doesn't seem like there are any more squares to fill in. Therefore, there must be some squares we can mark with an X. Let's look at all the possible ways to fill in the squares. This way. Like this. Or maybe like this. Were there any squares not used in any of the patterns? Yes, the 3 squares weren't used in any of the patterns. Mark these squares with an X. Good, we found all the clues in this line, so the number has turned black. Let's look. It looks like we can add an X to the line we worked on before. Can you find it? Yes, you can add an X to this square. Give it a try. That's it. Next is an advanced technique. Let's look at this row. This hint is blue, so there should be a square to fill in or a square to mark with an X. But it doesn't look like we can find either with the methods covered so far. This is a tricky line. If you encounter lines like this, try the following method. Run and give up. Look at each square and consider what would happen if you filled it in or marked it with an X. Try it out on each square on the line, and you may find a correct square or one to mark with an X. Let's give it a try. This square is a case in point. Now consider the line with this square correct. If we fill it in, then what? If this square was filled in, then the pattern 1, 2 wouldn't fit. So this can't possibly be a correct square. Let's mark it with an X. Good job. Think carefully about the hard lines and consider hypothetical scenarios to find solutions. Like that, you'll be able to solve even the trickiest of hints. Let's look at this column next. There are a lot of hint numbers here, but only one pattern works when you think about it. Fill in the correct squares and add an X to the rest. Great! You should be able to finish the puzzle using the techniques explained so far. Go ahead and finish the puzzle. So this is 1, 2, 2. This is 3 of 1 as well. It has to be that. Change these for this. This is already done. Right, 3 and 1. This is 2 and 1. This is already 1 and 2. This is 1 and 2. This is 3, 2, 1, so there is 2 ones. So that need to be these, these. Can't be that. This is already 1 and 2. 1, 1, 1. So like that. Flower. We hope you can use these techniques and features to solve larger puzzles. You can review the content here at any time from the tutorial screen. Have fun playing Picross! So I'm having a heart attack playing Picross. My gosh. Okay, well, this is basically more Picross. So if you enjoyed the first title or any of the other titles on the any other Nintendo systems, then you'll enjoy this as well. Obviously, there are harder puzzles here. They only throw you a couple of easy ones, so get used to spending a lot of time staring at these screens. I really love these games. I think this and Pixel Lines are like 2 of the top puzzle games on the systems. So either one of those games will make you happy for your puzzle appetite. Once again, this is Audap for you. You're watching Picross S2 on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.